We have 8.5 inches of height there, but our battery is 9.5 inches tall. Y'all know Chinese instructions, they can be a little confusing. Well, boys, we done screwed it up. Well, welcome back to the Speedfire Fab YouTube channel. My name's Taylor. Today, we got a new project. And by new project, I don't mean like something I just bought or acquired, but a previously owned vehicle that now needs some work. Nobody's ever, probably, I don't think any of y'all have ever seen this. It spends most of its time at work, is kind of my work rig, if you will, but it's a 2005 or 6, I think, California Roadster golf cart, based off of early 30s Ford hot rod. The batteries kind of went to crap, I don't know, 6 months ago. You can see it's a nice barn find, just collecting dust. Finally had some extra money to get some batteries and some extra time to mess with it. Got a busy week at work this week, so I'm probably just gonna get an hour each night out here in the shop, but an hour a day is better than nothing. So we're gonna make the most of it and see what we can accomplish. Should be pretty straightforward, I hope. No, who am I kidding? That's not gonna be the case, because we're not going back with 6, 7 volt batteries. We're gonna put a 48 volt single lithium battery in it and see how that does. So I saved the box opening because I know people like to see that. So this thing's very heavy, by the way. First I was kind of mad the FedEx driver didn't put it on the porch, and he just kind of left it outside in the sun most of the day. Then I went to pick it up and I was like, oh, I totally understand why he didn't carry it up the porch. Instructions, can read those later. Tiny screws, that's kind of scary. Certified QC. Metal bracket of some sort. And oh, is that the monitor? Looks bigger on the interwebs. That's all right. All right, get this spun around. What we got is a DC house 48 volt, give or take, I guess. You can get this in plastic case, the light duty metal case or the heavy duty metal case. I chose the light duty. I don't feel like I need a military grade battery case. Oh, it's definitely much smaller than what's in there. No idea about this brand. I mean, at this point, they're all made in China or somewhere on that side of the world. Probably all the same with a different sticker. But it was within the budget, so we shall see what happens. First things first, we got to get those out of here. And then probably need to wash it or something. I guess I should make sure that this is actually going to fit in that hole. Perfect. We shall see. Look, that one's broke too. I promised 6 months ago they were not broke. It would hold a charge for a whopping 30 minutes maybe. Now the fun part. I feel like we need something to wrap around that. A little bit of mule tape. Great for many uses. All right, I think those were the easy ones. I'm pretty sure 2 of those weigh what the new one does. Don't mind me just walking my boat anchor. Okay, that's enough of that. Now I gotta wash my hands. Stuff's nasty. All right, we got it all clean. I mean, not clean. We got it emptied of the old batteries. Need to roll it outside and pressure wash it, but it's like 9 o'clock and I really don't feel like doing that tonight. But my ichrometer tells me that this is not going to be as easy as I had hoped. So 19 by 10.5. We got these frame rails here. 17 3/4 up here, and it tapers down to 15 1/2 right there. Which means it's gonna have to sit on top of that. But I don't know if you can see it, that slopes down, kind of curves. Maybe we could put it in this way. No, that's not gonna work either. Well, maybe I should have got the smaller one. But bigger is supposed to be better, right? Bigger means more power, which means we can go faster. I don't know what that little box is down there. So I'm gonna have to think about this. I think we're gonna have to build some brackets. Might need to get some aluminum angle. So that it'll just kind of sit right there in that. Like, we could weld angle to there. And then we could bring this up where it was level. Weld angle there. Mount the box. Man, I really didn't want to have to do any fab work for this. I wonder what kind of height we have if we 8 1/2. Ooh, this is gonna be tricky. Well, I hate to say it, but I might have not checked the dimensions properly on the website before I bought that sucker. We might have to rethink this plan. I could mount it underneath the hood because currently I don't have the trunk liner in it. So there's this big carpet kind of trunk that goes in here, and I don't know, it's just ugly and a catch-all to put crap in, so I took it out so I couldn't put crap in it. But I'm kind of thinking that battery will go right there, right where that charger is, which I've got a new charger on the way for the new battery. We got the hood prop. We need a tape measure. I done forgot what this measured. 19, 10 1/2. So, $19 would clear that. 10 1/2 is about the width of the frame rail. The real question is when we come up 9 inches, how is that gonna fit? Nope. Well, we could put that sucker sideways. Maybe. There's not enough weight up here in the front, and you're sitting back there, so that if you go to try to like kind of power through a corner or slam on the brakes, the front just slides. It's got even with the old batteries, it had enough guts to like spin the tires from a stop. So you could get going in the corner and kind of nail the throttle, and it would start to whip sideways, but there's no weight in the front. So as you're turning, trying to compensate for it, it's just pushing like out the corner. Very scary. Definitely not very safe. So 100 pounds or whatever that weighs right up there would actually do it some good. And then you end up with a under-seat trunk area. Put the charger in there. I don't know. That might hurt the resale though, because I'm honestly thinking about selling this thing when I put it back together and clean it up. Haven't quite decided yet. I don't really need it. It's cool to have fun, but I guess I have two options. Well, there's three options, but the third option is probably a terrible idea. Option one would be to just send that battery back and try to find a smaller one that will go down in there, but that's not going to be as fun because it's going to be smaller. It'll be like a 60 amp hour instead of 100, which means less range, less go fast, which that's no fun. Option two is put it in the trunk, and then I can never put the trunk liner back in. And then option three would be to hack the frame rails up so that it will sit down there flat. But that's a terrible idea because then the back half's going to fall off, and then I'll have to rebuild all of that and reinforce it with new frame rails over here, and that's just a whole. I don't know if any of y'all watching. I don't know if any of y'all watching this have ever had experience of welding junk, dirty aluminum. It's awful. In my past experience, it doesn't work 9 out of 10 times. You end up with booger welds that just don't hold nothing, and it's terrible. So, while that is a third option, I'm going to say that's a non-existent option at this point. But anyways, it's late. I've had a long day. I'm tired. Got a little progress. I don't know that it's progress in the right direction because now we might be going backwards. And now we just have a car that's in more pieces than when it come in, which I'm very good at. I'm a professional at bringing in a somewhat working vehicle and ripping it apart. So yep, that's going to be it for tonight. I will see y'all back here tomorrow, or may not be tomorrow for me, but it'll be shortly. So done some measuring on our battery here. We have a 12-inch opening. We have 8.5 inches of height there with 10.5 inches of height there, but our battery is 9.5 inches tall and 10.5 inches wide, which is almost going to be the whole square. So that means the battery be sticking up past here because our frame rails are pointed up. So I think, because the battery is 19 inches, that we can run it long ways here without getting into the rear axle. But in order to do that, I need to get rid of some of this, not get rid of it, but clean up some of this wiring. This speaker amp needs to move out of the way because the battery's gonna have to sit right there. But since we don't have any more batteries going on the side, we can mount our controller and amp and all that stuff over there. That should be good to go. So we just need to clean this up a little bit, which we've got a mess of things. As of right now, I could not 100% tell you what all this goes to. That's the control wire for the forward and back. I do know that. Let's lay that out the way. This is the power and ground for our underglow. Worry about that later. We're not gonna need this battery cable. We'll get that out the way. I believe this is more speaker stuff. No, this is the underglow kind of splitter, I guess. So there's the power coming out of the switch module. This is the splitter, so we'll still need that. This is some kind of chassis ground, I'm guessing. Might be power for like the dash radio and things. I don't know. I don't know what all this string is for. Does not seem like it's needed, so we'll get that out the way too. This is going to be our charger cable. This one, part of the charger that's been spliced back together maybe. Speaker wire. That kind of looks like an extension cord, but I'm gonna guess that's specialty speaker wire. All right, we got to get this amp off, which I'm not gonna lie, I think it's glued on quite interesting. I don't want to have to rewire all this stuff, but I mean, if that's what we got to do in the end, well, that's what we got to do, I guess. All right, it's double-sided tape. Well, at least they double-sided taped the whole thing, but they put it on the heat sink. That's not probably a great idea, considering that's what's supposed to keep that cool. Try to get this as clean as possible. I guess it doesn't really matter, but the plan is to sell this after I get batteries put in there, so I'm not usually the one to half-ass a project just to sell it. It's one thing to leave some areas alone and not fix, but I'm not gonna be the one to do all this and cut a bunch of corners just because I'm selling it. Plus, now that you guys have seen the video, it's public knowledge. And I might have a buyer lined up, which is somebody I know, and I don't want to do that to them. But we can say that's good enough, because for what this is, it's good enough. A few different cables there. I'm not real sure what they're for. Now I just got to decide which way to put this battery in there. We got our cables on one end, and we have a battery switch, which I don't know. So we should put our cables going backwards towards the motor. So what I'm thinking is the battery will sit on this plate and that, and then I can figure out some sort of way to strap it or hold it. It's a steel box. That's gonna be a sharp edge over time as it rides and bounces and shakes around. So I'm gonna cut a piece of hose, rubber hose, and we'll put along that just to kind of create a buffer padding. All right, I'll cut a piece of hose that's about that long. All right, a piece of, I don't know, it's 3/8, 5/8, 3/8, 5/16 hose, I guess, and just cut a slit in it with a razor blade. Push it down there like that, even it up. Now we got good padding that won't just absolutely cut into the battery or cut into the frame. So now we got to lift this 80-pound monster down in there without just wrecking our paint and our cart and my back and all of that good stuff. When I say it's 80 pounds, it might be like 40. Which way did I say we were going? We're gonna put the batteries going that way. Or the cable going that way? No, I think we should do it the other way. I think we should do it like this. Just what I was worried about. Not enough room to get in there. Oh, maybe. Yes. I'm thinking something along those lines, but oh, too much. So that's about centered. I feel like it worked. So we got our negative here, we got our positive here, which is a little short. So maybe if I turn the battery around, spin it. Let me show y'all what I'm working with here. So back here behind the seat, with all our controls and everything, kind of see down in there, we got that switch, on-off switch, and then a display port, which I don't really know what that's for because the little dash digital screen that come with it has just got a positive and a negative wire. But since we have our ground cable that's bolted up to here underneath this frame, and then this is our power, I'm kind of wondering if we shouldn't flip that around and then we can just connect all that right here. I feel like that'd be easier. And then the on switch would be up here at the front. Like, I guess it'd be like a master battery kill switch. You could turn it on and off. So I'm thinking that's probably the best route if we spin it around, which kind of sucks because it was not very fun to get in there, but that'll be all right. I'm gonna apologize in advance for these camera angles. It's kind of hard to get down in here where you can see. So maybe we'll just try for a few of them and see what works best. Maybe I can do this in here. It does not appear so. I just got my back and shoulder put back in place, so this should be not a great idea, I'm sure. Yeah, scratched sticker a little bit. I think that's better. There's our switch. Cable's back there. All right, for the meantime, until I come up with a better bracket, I want to make sure that everything else kind of fits in here and it all works like I think it should. So we'll just throw a ratchet strap around this thing. It's not good enough, but again, it kind of proves the point that all that will do what it needs to do. All right, now we got to connect our, well, I guess we got to figure out where to put the charger. Should probably read the instructions. News is the charger's got some holes in it. Hoping. Of course, they don't match up to anything. So this will go back to the battery. I have some aluminum. We might just make a plate that we can kind of bolt in there. And I've also got to buy a 12 volt or 48 volt to 12 volt converter so that I can run the speakers and the lights and all that stuff. This ground cable's still good, so we should be able to bolt that right back in to there. I was about to say, oh wow, look, I found something unplugged, but that's the stupid backup beeper that I unplugged because nobody wants to listen to that sucker beep. Not real sure how much of this y'all are gonna be able to see here, but basically just connecting our wires. We got our factory negative going to our controller, put that and that together, get our bolt that just barely fits in there. All right, that one's in, needs to be tightened. Problem number 2 is that is broke. So we're gonna have to put a new end on that one. Need to go find a copper lug because I think a regular aluminum lug's probably not gonna handle the current. These golf cart motors tend to take quite a discharge current. Likes to melt things. It's not big enough. Story of my life. I got all these fittings and all these things, and it's almost never the right size. Either not the right size hose, not the right size wire opening, or not the right size bolt opening. Well, I don't have any more of the nice and thick American ones, but I got one of these Chinese ones. Chinese battery, Chinese fitting. That ought to be decent, right? Might actually be a little big of a fitting. We're gonna make it work. Missing something here. We gotta have some kind of power from ground to the key switch in order for all of this to work, I think. The real question is we're gonna have enough threads to do all of that? Don't know. Just enough. We're not gonna have enough threads to put a 12 volt converter on it though. That will be no dice. It's a little corroded, but we're going to send it for now. I still got to pull the battery out to some kind of bracket, so we will cross that bridge then. Really just, I want to get this thing in here and I want to make sure it's going to work, to do all the right things before I go wasting time making it all perfect. Something doesn't work. That needs to go that way though. One of the reasons I didn't want to put the cables back here because there's not much room. I guess I could have put it on the lift. That would have had a lot of room. All right, that is tight. I don't have enough, there's not enough bolt there to put to wire the little screen in. I'll probably have to put like a junction block somewhere, run power from the battery down to that, and then power other things. All right, we're taking bets on what size bolt that is. I'm gonna say it's a 12. I would be wrong, it's 13. 13. I'm sure the underglow would work well on 48 volt, but I don't know about 12 volt radio and speakers. I think that might void the warranty. All right, we got faith that this is gonna work. I don't. Well, I guess I have a little. I haven't checked voltage, but theoretically, put on the brake, turn the key on, press your little power switch. Factory gauge shows pretty full. We got nothing on our controller there, probably because I'm missing something. Like I don't know what that wire goes to. The fuse got knocked out. The fuse got kind of broken. Main contactor's working. No dice. All right, let me experiment with that for a minute and I'll get back to you. Turns out that was 100% on me. You'll remember back to like 5 minutes ago when I unplugged this and said, well, that's our neutral and forward and reverse. We won't need that till later. Yeah, we definitely needed that plugged in and it was not. Well, torture test of the new work light just fell off the back. Oh, it'll do burnouts. Not real sure what that was, but I did not like it. Loud clunk. Probably not good. It's got all the torque now, and I don't think it likes it. Yeah, I'll worry about that in a minute. Oh. That was supposed to be plugged in. Well, boys, we done screwed it up. We're gonna have to rewire the charger. What have we learned today? Bolt everything down before we go any further. I'm gonna guess that the tire caught the end of that, and then it flopped this over, which was the big thud we heard, and pulled it out of the insides there. So I'm gonna say that probably voided. What could go wrong? I mean, we don't have a charger, so we might as well drain the batteries. Now I kind of don't want to sell it. It's freaking great. All right, I guess that's enough fun and chances of destroying things. The next thing I got to decide to do is we have this little guy. It's some kind of LED LCD screen thingy. We have the original one, which is very dull and, I don't know, boring. Maybe this one's boring too. I don't know. We need to plug it in and see, but like, I'm wondering, do we put it in there? We can make a thing. I don't know. Let's see what this thing looks like plugged in. See what we're working with. The warranty. Yeah. Good news is we got 3/4 of a charge, so we won't need the charger for a little while. Mike can make it around the neighborhood. But I mean, it does freaking burnouts. Oh, yeah. That is insane. I wonder. Think we could chalk the front tires and get it to spin? I mean, we should definitely probably not do that. But what better way? What better way to test the Chinese wire lugs? I don't know. It's completely stupid, but like, isn't that kind of what we live for most days? Doing cool stuff. What could go wrong? I mean, we don't have a charger, so we might as well drain the batteries. Now I kind of don't want to sell it. It's freaking great. All right, I guess that's enough fun and chances of destroying things. The next thing I got to decide to do is we have this little guy. It's some kind of LED, LCD screen thingy. We have the original one, which is very dull and, I don't know, boring. Maybe this one's boring too. I don't know. We need to plug it in and see, but like, I'm wondering, do we put it in there? We could make a thing. I don't know. Let's see what this thing looks like plugged in. See what we're working with. Oh, look, there we go. 32%. 52 volts. The other cool thing, so I think we do need to change it out because the other factory one looks like it shows way more than 32% to me. It's like 3/4. We're gonna need to put it on the key though. It also apparently has an app to pair into and get it on the phone. Bluetooth. Oh, apparently that is Bluetooth to the battery. If we turn that off and we can use our phone, I don't know. Y'all know Chinese instructions, they can be a little confusing. But they got a whole manual just for the app. You just scan the QR code, download our app. So while that's working, I do want to know, the way I want to mount that flush mount in the dash is not going to work if we can't have the key like wake it up, turn it on. So I'm gonna disconnect positive. So that's not the end of the deal. It'll shut off and then it just has to like reboot and re-find itself every time the key's on. That's a little annoying, but it's not a deal breaker. I'd really like to know what this display port up here is though. I feel like that'd be so much easier. Maybe they make another plug-in and now we have it on our phone. That's pretty neat. 32%, 51.9, 6 volts, 0 amps. Standby mode. We got 31.7 amp hours left. It's a 100 amp hour battery. Oh, that's pretty cool. It shows us the voltage of all the cells. So you can see when you get a dead one. Fancy. Yeah, like this one's in the red and way down here, but then our factory one, probably because it's not set up for lithium. It says we got 3/4 voltage, but it's not gonna be great. But I'm thinking, I wanna do some research, see if I can find a different one of those maybe that would plug in the little plug up front of the battery. And if not, then we're gonna build something that will hold that and fit inside the factory box. So I'm gonna do a little research and we'll be back in a minute. To get this dash piece out. All right, let's see. We can open this up and inspect the damage, see if we can fix it. Because this charger's $125 and I really don't want to have to buy another one. So as long as the inside of this is not just completely like sealed and glued up, I think we can probably fix it. Let's have a nice aluminum bead rolled cover though. Yep, glued up, epoxy filled, pretty much exactly. Oh, wait a minute. That's exactly what I thought, but it pulled the wire straight out of the connectors, which have screws. So there's a chance we could take that out, put new ones in. The tricky part is this hose was, our cable was kind of formed in here. There we go. Should just be able to feed this back in there. Just thought of something. We don't know which one is positive and which one is negative because it ripped them out. Like 50-50 chance, I guess. I don't know what it's gonna do if we get it wrong. Maybe there's a wiring diagram in here, I doubt it. All right, well, it's got output reverse protection, so in theory, if we get it wrong, should still be okay. Because this is the side that goes to the battery, not the wall, thankfully. Which I'm gonna have to modify this one anyways, because I'd like to put it in, cut that off and put it in the, the little factory plug-in spot. All I got is heat shrink connectors. Shouldn't hurt anything, I don't think. A little extra can't hurt. Some of y'all might be wondering, why is he wearing gloves when he's doing wiring? Trust me, it's not what I want to be doing, but I have a skin issue that flares up in the wintertime that literally my top layer of skin starts coming off and hands pretty much start bleeding, and I just don't like dealing with it. It's annoying, and the gloves keep from making it just absolutely worse. So, yay, gloves for me. You know what I could do here? Yeah, we should do that. We're gonna plug this in and get the voltmeter and determine which one of those is positive and negative. All right, here's where we insert the disclaimer. Look at that, I was gonna get it wrong. Maybe it knows that there's nothing hooked up. All right, I'm pretty sure we're gonna go with that one being the red one. You're unplugged, you're gonna discharge. Thank you. Screws aren't long enough. I'm sure they're long enough when there's not epoxy down in here. Yep, we got it right. Red and black. 58 volts. All right, there we have it. Brand new, rebuilt, slightly modified. If anything, we just shortened this because it was too long. So very thankful that that was an easy fix. So now I think the next plan of attack is we need to get this dash piece out, which I honestly might just do that off camera because it's way up under there, and there really just ain't room for two of us. So I think I'll pull it out and then we'll go over my game plan of how we're gonna solve all this problem to fit the new one in. And we'll go from there. So see y'all in a few. All right, so we got it out. That was a real big pain because I couldn't even see in there. So it goes in this way, and then there's 4 really long bolts that are literally just like partially threaded into the fiberglass, just enough where they don't come out the other side. Maybe there's oh, they got like an aluminum plate Frenched in there, fiberglassed in there. So, I mean, I guess that's better, but still, that is extra crazy. And as you can see, like, there ain't no room up in there. I had to get the stubby on the bottom bolt, and the back side of the fiberglass body was like right here. I had to get it in an angle, and it's just a pain in the butt. So here's my plan. It is, if I can pull it off.